programs, of whom a quarter have been women. Our flagship program, I-NCUBATE, has worked with over 150 faculty from over 30 universities. Most of the faculty and researchers who go through our program are transformed in their thinking and start looking at research and teaching from a very different lens. A big impact that GDC has made is that 60% of the faculty who come to GDC are trying out startups for the first time, while on most campuses in India, this ratio is less than 15%. More than 2/3 of startups from GDC have gone on to scale their ventures, and so far have raised more than rupees 450 million of funds. We plan to go national at GDC. We have 4 products today, I-NCUBATE and Inspire, which are well established, and we could roll them out nationally to over a couple of hundred colleges and institutions. The other 2 products, Ignite and Ideate, are on the drawing board, and we expect to get them ready over the next 1 year.
Well, there's a short video about GDC, and next we have a slide on mission of GDC. What are its core areas of interest in terms of working with faculty, researchers, and essentially carrying lab research to market. And GDC has been working with this academic institution across the country. We work with STEM institutions, and today we have more than 40 plus STEM institutions across the country. We are not restricted to only IIT campus, though we are funded by IIT Madras alumni. We have an office in the campus. However, our outreach is to the entire country, and whichever STEM institute of the country wants to benefit through GDC program, we welcome them with open arms. Essentially, what GDC does is transform the capabilities and minds of the faculty researchers. Typically, academic institutions and research scholars continue the research and then translate the research into research papers to be published in global journals. And they also present their papers in international conferences. By and large, the output activity stops at that, and hardly any of these research output reaches the market in terms of products or services to the market. There's been the status of Indian academic institutions for quite some time. However, the situation has changed the past decade or so, as some of the faculty researchers are interested in taking their lab research output to the market. And today we see in institutions like IIT Madras, Bombay, Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, at least 10% of the faculty have shown interest to take the research output to the market. And GDC program essentially enables such faculty in their thinking process in terms of commercializing the research output to market. GDC also enables teams' success. Startups are notoriously known for high levels of fatality. Very low percentage of startups succeed and go ahead in establishing a company and grow the market. Program in GDC enables a percentage of improvement in the success of these startups. And overall, GDC builds in the entrepreneurial thinking in the campuses, in the minds of the researchers, to seriously look at how to transform their research outputs to products. That's the way GDC has been functioning the past 5 years or so. If you look at our programs, there's a graph talking about, on the left side, research labs. On the right side, we have incubators and established companies. Typically, academic research starts somewhere on the extreme left in terms of ideation, and possibly some of the lab outputs take the route of building a prototype or a proof of concept. And then faculty, they think that they have a good product on hand and straight away move to set up a startup company in the incubators. And then they miss out a big set of steps in between. And these are called valleys of death. And this is where GDC focuses in working with academic institutions in helping the teams to understand, is there a customer for their idea? Can we meet the prospective potential customers, understand the pain points, and verify whether our assumptions about our products meet their requirement at all? This process is very, very crucial before the product is built further, and then the idea goes to a startup scale. And that's where GDC has played a very pivotal role in conducting their incubate programs over the past 5 years. and we have seen a great amount of success. We also have another program called Inspire that works with startup companies established in incubators, and Ideate and Ignite are the other two programs which are in the early stages of evolution. Essentially, GDC operates in the lab to market space, and I can proudly say that we are the only institution in the entire country to work in this space and enable the startups to build their ideas to market. Well, that's about what GDC does to the academic institutions. But what GDC does not do is also an important element which will be worthwhile remembering. GDC is not an incubator. It doesn't provide any incubation facility at all. We also do not invest into startups or provide funds for startups. GDC is also not a business accelerator, but then overall GDC plays a very, very vital role in the overall innovation ecosystem. In fact, GDC's teams passing through GDC can be good feeder into the incubator as well as the accelerators. We provide a very important role in the entire innovation ecosystem of the country. We also do not provide any consultancy services to the entrepreneurs or investors. And GDC, as I mentioned earlier, has been functioning through the philanthropic contributions from 3 very good alumni of IIT who have put in money in this venture and without any expectation of returns. And thereby, GDC doesn't charge any money to any of the teams who want to go through the cohorts through GDC's framework. Coming to the impact of GDC, what has been the impact for the past 5 years has been fairly impressive. There are 2 boxes here, Incubate on the left side, Inspire on the right side. Incubate, as I mentioned, started off way back in 2018. And as on date, we have completed 20 cohorts. 21st cohorts is underway and probably complete in sometime next month. And we have taken 179 startups into Incubate program. And there are 190 faculty across the country who participate in these programs. And as I mentioned earlier, we are a pan-India player with 41 STEM colleges actively participating in our program. And overall, 900 plus participants have benefited as of now from the Incubate program. On the Inspire side, there are about 10 cohorts which have gone through the program, and we have touched base with 11 incubators who have sent their teams. Totally about 71 startups have participated there, and cumulatively more than 200 participants benefited by the Inspire program. Put together, we across more than 1,100 participants who have directly benefited by the GDC's programs. And Ignite, as I mentioned, is a very early stage product which is evolving into a product on its own. 65% of these startups who had gone through GDC program have gone ahead, established a startup company, and then started raising funds to a business. Today, cumulatively, 65% of these companies have raised more than 75 crores of funding from various sources, and they're going strong from day to day. Look at the impact of what GDC has done rather than we talking about it. Here is a video which presents the thought process of past participants in the GDC program and how they benefited through GDC program. Sit back and watch this video to get a ringside view of the participants themselves speaking about it.
GDC is basically my classroom for entrepreneurship. So is there a way by which my technology can get out of the lab and meet the market and get to people? If you have any of those kinds of angst, you need to pull yourself out of the comfort zone and walk into GDC.
And the way other accelerator works and the incubate sort of program works is entirely different. I'm pretty much give a good appreciation to entire GDC team, how they actually transformed me and my team's business understanding from a technological point of view to how we actually start delivering it to the customer.
After our cohort ended, we documented and made a complete booklet around our customer discovery journey. So we're using this as our first day orientation document for business team intakes.
Unfortunately, there was no GDC when I ventured on this journey, and I have learned many of these through a trial and error kind of a process. What would you have taken, say, 2 years or 3 years has taken me twice that time.
Well, that gives an overview of what the participants said. Professor Satya says that GDC is the classroom for his entrepreneurship. He's been a successful faculty as well as a serial entrepreneur. Professor Ram Gopal Verma talked about how he missed GDC when he was a faculty, translating some of his ideas into products. This slide talks about a few of our startup teams which has gone ahead, established a company and started selling their products. There are many more in the list. We just brought in a sample of a few companies. We had the fortune of listening to Mr. Anil Agrawal, former head of Startup India, and he believes that programs like GDC need to be scaled up to national level with active involvement from the government. So Srinath Narasimhan, CEO of Tata Trust, also says that startup industries should bring in solutions of tomorrow for today's problems. That's what he believes the startup culture should be. And that's about all from about GDC. Going forward, I request my colleague KV Anand to take over and talk about I-NCUBATE program online. And over to you, KV.
Thank you.
Can I stop sharing my screen?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Here is a quick overview of the I-NCUBATE program. The highlights of the program: one, it is an 8 weeks program. Before we commence the 8 weeks program as a cohort, 2 weeks before, typically 2 weeks before the cohort actually begins, we have an onboarding or an orientation session. So where we meet the teams who have already been selected for the I-NCUBATE program and talk about what they can expect in the program and get introduced to each other. But the actual workshops and the program itself is for 8 weeks. It is completely online. Ever since March 2020, we have moved this program to online, and we've been very successful. There are a lot of benefits of having moved this program online. The 41 universities that we've been able to reach, most of the 41 happened only after we moved online. And the workshops happen over 2 weekends, Saturday, Sunday, and the following Saturday, Sunday. And then after 4 weeks, we have a midpoint review. So altogether, we have 5 full-day workshops. And every week, we spend 3 hours in the afternoon on a Friday, between 2 and 5 in the afternoon. And during the 8 weeks period, the participants are expected to have 100 customer conversations. These conversations are different from the casual conversations, and that's what we will be explaining during the program. And at the end of the cohort, there will be a closing workshop, which is where the teams make their final presentation, talk about what they have learned, talk about their way forward. And then there is a finale where we have guests. We invite guests from outside. We usually have a chief guest. So we have a lot of people from the investors community, the academicians, from the government. So a variety of people attend the finale. And these finale events are very important for the startups, because in many cases, the startups get contacted by some of the people who attend the finale. It's an important event. And typically, teams need to invest 50% of their time. So, this program is quite intensive. This requires teams to do a lot of work. And it's not just attending the workshops, but what happens between workshops is probably, lot more intensive than the workshops itself. So therefore, typically they will invest 50% of their time, and we do not charge. Like Subbu said, we are funded by the alumni of IIT Madras, and it's a philanthropic organization, and therefore we do not charge anyone. Structure is like this. Like I mentioned, we start with an onboarding session, we end with the closing workshop and finale. And in between, we have workshops, we have weekly webinars, and there are regular interactions with the instructors and with the mentors assigned by GDC. This program is meant for, even in the video, you would have seen people who attended the program. We have a variety of people who were students when they came to the program, and now they have gone out and they have become founders. And there are researchers who come to the program, they after completion of their research, they go ahead with their startup journey. We have very successful startups created by researchers, just team of researchers. We have good examples right from cohort 1, where a team of researchers have come together with the faculty, and they have gone on and they have successfully raised money, and they are in revenue in the market. And we have faculty. Every team will have a faculty lead. So it's meant for all of them. And I think Subbu mentioned, we do not create successful startups, but we create, and we are not expecting to create entrepreneurs out of faculty as well. But we create entrepreneurial thinking in them, and we also, therefore, through that, we also change the culture within STEM institutions. We have had instances where faculty have embraced the process and the framework that we use in this program, and have created their own models to work with researchers. Whenever they start on a new research, they first understand whether the world really needs it. Why should we take up this research? Why should we spend so much money and time researching? So the mindset change, the culture change, everything is evident through this program, and that's our objective. We are not necessarily trying to create a successful startup in 8 weeks. So just want to set the expectation right. And what do we need from the teams when they apply? Number one, it has to be an idea that is science technology based. So that's why we work with STEM institutions across the country. And the technology feasibility has to be proven. So it's not something that is just on paper. This is the reason why the faculty is critical to be part of the team, because the faculty is able to confirm that this is feasible, technically feasible. This idea is not just a wild imagination, or it's just on paper, but it is actually feasible. So that has been proved, and it is led by a faculty member. And there are at least 3 people in the team who will attend the workshops, who will do the 100 conversations, who will attend office hours. So we need at least 3 people, because, like I said, it is very intensive, and there's no way one person can do it, or even 2 people will struggle to do it. We need at least 3 people. We have had several teams with more than 5 entrepreneur leads. ELs are entrepreneur leads. And the commitment to time. So 50% of the time is required, and we are not exaggerating. 50% of the time is absolutely critical. We need that, to spend that kind of time, to go through this program and get the best value out of this program. So you saw this slide, and we are specifically talking about I-NCUBATE. We are not looking at the other programs. So I-NCUBATE is positioned at this stage of the life cycle of a startup. So the idea is already in the lab. There may be a prototype, or they may be developing the prototype, but certainly the technical feasibility has been established. No, no program or no entity in the startup ecosystem supports startups at this stage of the startup. And customer discovery is usually bypassed, and people go directly from prototype to launching their product, or prototype to the MVP, if at all some teams do it. But usually, once they have a working prototype, they believe that the product is ready, and the next logical thing for them to do is launch the business and start making money. And this is exactly why the startup failure rate is very high, because there's something that is most critical that is not actually even considered by startups, which is understanding the customer and the customer's needs before we make something that we believe that the customer needs. So if we continue to work with our idea and our belief that everybody needs it, we get disappointed when we go to the market. Therefore, this program is unique. And when Subbu said this is the only program in the country that actually works in this space, it is true. There's no other program that works in this space. The program culture, it's bootcamp style. So when we say it is intensive, it is intensive. It is bootcamp style. Everything in this program has a deadline. There's nothing in this program that does not have a deadline, whether it is something to do inside the workshops or outside the workshops, there is a deadline. And everything, time is critical to us. So everything happens in a tight timeline, and therefore the intensity is very, very high. The way the instructors and the mentors will work with the startups, it will be very direct and challenging. We are not rude. We are not challenging because we think the idea is good or bad. We don't judge the idea at all. The teams who come to the program, especially when they come with the faculty lead, we do not have anything to add to their capabilities when it comes to their technology and their innovation. We simply, we are playing the customer's role if they have not considered the customer, and we are playing it back to them, and therefore it can be challenging. But the intention of our challenging tone is not because we are trying to show that we know better. And we follow the flipped classroom approach, which means that we don't really teach in our workshops. All the reading and watching videos and learning from watching videos and reading books or reading material happen outside the classroom. So before the teams come to the workshops, they already know the concepts. They already know what everything means in this program. So during the workshops, we have discussions, we have activities, we have some exercises. So learning happens by doing and not by listening to lectures or listening to someone's instructions. So the word instructor is used, but it's not really, the style is not instructional. The style is collaborative, coaching, and having dialogues. That's the style that we follow. In the team's structure, there is at least one faculty lead. We've had several teams in our cohorts where there is more than one faculty lead. There are two professors who have come with the team, but one faculty lead is mandatory in the team. At least 3 entrepreneurial leads. So these could be the researchers, these could be students who are working with the professor or having come together with the professor for this idea. They may not be students of the professor directly, but we need at least 3, and it could be even more. And we will assign a business mentor. And this business mentor is not a domain expert or somebody who will mentor the teams on the technology. We believe that the faculty is the owner of the technology, is the custodian of the knowledge when it comes to their technology and know-how. So the business mentor does not really challenge technology or give any input to technology. They don't consult for the teams, but they're an extension of the instructors of GDC. They are attached to teams, and they mentor the teams through the process. They guide the team through the process that is being that is at the core of the I-NCUBATE program. And so every team will be assigned a mentor by GDC. And the faculty leads, like I said, are typically the originator of the idea. In some cases, the researchers or the students may have come up with an idea, and the faculty may have found the idea valuable, found the idea worth commercializing, and therefore they have come together. But mostly it is the faculty's idea that they come together and work on. The entrepreneurial leads are the engine of the startup. So they are the ones who pull all the weight. They are the ones who do the work. They are the ones who talk to 100 people. They are the ones who do all the assignments, and the faculty lead helps them, guides them. But the entrepreneurial leads are the ones who pull all the weight. The business mentors are there. Sometimes even act as a sounding board, and business mentors also help the entrepreneurial leads with connections. So by accessing their network, if they can make some useful connections for them to understand the industry, or sometimes to meet people and understand the customer's needs, they may make such connections as well. Instructors are the ones who will be running the program from GDC's side, conducting the workshops, conducting office hours, conducting webinars, and giving feedback to teams when they come and present their learnings, and also follow the flipped classroom approach and have dialogues and discussions to clarify concepts. All that is done by the instructors. This cohort 22, application is open now, and the last day to apply is 1st of June. So we still have a week to go. The onboarding or the orientation will happen on 23rd. And this is typically 3 hours in the evening, 3 to 4 hours in the evening kind of an affair. It's like a welcome reception. The actual cohort will begin on 9th of July, and it will end, the finale will be on 3rd of September. So these are some important dates you need to be mindful of if you are considering applying. Now we will open for questions. I'm stopping sharing. So we'll take questions now.
Hi, hello.
Yes.
This is Abhishek from IIC. So, I just passed out. I just gave my defense like two months back, and me and my prof have been discussing about doing some startup with whatever research I've done. So and we have roped in one more person, but he's not a researcher at IIC. He's actually like an independent work. He works independently for different startups. So we are trying to get him on board with our startup. So is this valid for applying here? Because he's that person, the entrepreneur lead, that potential entrepreneur lead will not be part of IIC. So will that be valid?
But you will have a faculty from ISC leading the team.
True.
Yeah.
So I'll have a faculty. I myself am I'm planning to continue doing work here in the lab itself, even after my degree is granted. So for this startup. So I'm just checking whether all the entrepreneur leads have to be researcher from the institute, or it's like can be from outside.
No, this is fine. This composition is fine because we have the faculty from IIC, you're from IIC, and one person who's joining the team. That's fine.
Yeah. So I'll get one more person, which will be also a research assistant from my lab.
Sure,
so
that's fine.
That would be different, right?
That is fine. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Yes. Abhishek, maybe at what stage is your research? Is it like theoretical research? Have you made something?
So actually, I have for my research itself, I have like 2 prototypes which is working, which I showed as demo of part of my defense as well. And there is one more work which is happening in the lab, which is done by MTech students, which is also prototype. So we have like in all around three prototypes which are working fine, and we see potential as a product. But the same problem that you guys have mentioned here about the customer discovery, we have no idea what the customer and how to approach all these things. So we just have these things built in the lab during my time. So it's all on like I have got the hardware as well. So it's like the software and hardware on embedded systems. Everything is there. So we just don't know how to approach and where to go for this.
You're all dressed up, don't know where to go.
Exactly.
Okay, you're to the right place. Good.
Right.
Anyone else?
Hello.
So we'd request if you could put on your cameras, and nice to have a conversation.
Yeah, Ayush. Yes, sir. This is Ayush from IIC. Sir, I have a question like, can you little bit elaborate on the 8-week camps, like how we are going to achieve that customer discovery prospect? What will be the approach of them?
Raghu, you want to take it?
I couldn't hear you very well. I'm sorry.
The question is, in 8 weeks, how does customer discovery actually happen? How do we achieve the outcome?
Okay. So, I think as Ayush Anand explained, This program is largely about, I think, just the way Abhishek had articulated it. They built something and they know it works, but they don't know for whom it will work or for whom it will be useful. So this whole exercise is trying to figure out, you've made something or you have a technology or an innovation, who does it work for? So you will have to think, guess, make these guesses for who you think is making it work, who will buy it, who has a problem to solve. Go meet such people, 100 of them, of various kinds, and then some will get invalidated, some will get validated, and that's how this process works. So you will have to go and find that out. Does it make sense, Hari?
And sir, like before we join the 8-week program, so what you are expecting, like how much, what we should have done in our potential product?
How much should have been? I'm sorry?
Okay, so am I not audible, sir?
Little louder, please.
Muffled, yeah, difficult to hear.
Okay. So how much, what you are expecting, like how much work we should have done in our potential product development?
Well, the proof of there must be some proof of concept. I mean, if you show up with an engine and say IC engine that works on water, that will be a little skeptical, right? Or if you come up with a 6G technology in telecom, that will be, probably stretching it too far. You've got to have some proof of concept, because we don't address the technology part in this program, but we address where that technology would find traction or solve a problem and be commercially useful. And we expect you and your faculty lead and your team of researchers to be proficient enough to handle that. So therefore, that's a hurdle that you have, that's a threshold that you will have to cross in terms of convincing us that it's good technology and well on road to working, even if it's not perfect, but it's not science yet. If it can work and some proof of concept is there, we are fine with that.
Okay, thank you, sir.
May I have one more question, if possible?
Yes, Abhishek.
Yeah. So one more thing is, so I wanted to check how much time the faculty lead has to give in for this particular workshop. Is it the the entrepreneur leads are only going to get involved, or faculty lead also have to give 50% of their time?
Rajiv, you want to answer that?
Yeah, sure, KV. So Abhishek, you are a faculty lead or you are an entrepreneur lead, if I may ask?
I am the entrepreneur lead. I just mentioned, I just gave my defense.
Okay, sorry.
I might look that old.
Yeah. No, earlier your video was off, so okay.
Yeah.
So Abhishek, see, out of the 50% of the time that we say that entrepreneur leads need to devote, I would say approximately 30 to 35% of the time is taken up by doing these 100 customer discovery interviews. So my guess is that over the period of 8 weeks, the faculty lead would need to set aside 5 full days, which are over the weekend. So, the first 2 weeks, 2 weekends, and there is a third Saturday somewhere in the middle of the program. That's the clear time that the faculty lead needs to set aside. Besides that, it's up to the individual team how much time the faculty lead will spend interacting with the team during the week. So maybe a couple of hours during the week, or as part of your routine interaction, the faculty lead would interact and sort of get a sense of how the interviews are progressing and what are you discovering, etc. But basically 5 clear days which are scheduled over weekends. The whole program is configured in a manner that academic researchers, the target audience can manage the time for the program, provided they are serious and committed for the startup.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah. Yes.
Hello, sir. Yeah. Thank you, sir. Yeah. I hope I'm audible.
You are.
Yeah. Yeah, myself, Joaquin George. I'm a postdoctoral researcher in IIT Madras. So me and my faculty advisor, we were having a little bit discussion on a possible startup idea. So this is actually not a product-based startup, but a service-based startup. So we are both structural engineering background. We both have. So we are working on that aspect. So the vibe I got from the overall presentations is like, are you intending this program exclusively for product-based startups, or service-based startups are also welcome? Small concern on that, yeah.
Raghu, you want to address that?
All innovations are welcome.
Okay.
Right? Even product-based, hardware-based innovations sometimes get into a service model.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter to us, but it should be STEM-based.
Understood. Thank you, sir.
No coffee service, no coffee bar and all that. We love coffee, but that's not acceptable.
It's a part of the job.
So service is fine, just fine.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Anyone else? Any questions?
Just a show of hands. How many of you intend to apply? You can use the reaction button. Abhishek.
Yes.
Ganesh. Quite a few. You guys have no question?
Hi, sir.
You get 5 marks for if you ask a question here.
Hello.
In that case, I can take a question.
Ask 2 questions, 10 marks, please.
Actually, I am a graduate from IISc Bangalore, and we started this startup in 2018 when I was clearly not a faculty, but I'm a faculty now at IIT Hyderabad. And so is this a valid composition? Because we are a team of 3 people. We both graduated from IISc in 2020. And now I'm a faculty, and other co-founder is working full-time on startup. So can I be the faculty lead here? Which clearly is a convert, not originally faculty lead.
Absolutely, yes. You can be the faculty lead.
Sure, thanks.
Yes, Professor. Five marks for whoever has not asked and is applying. Still going.
Shashidharan, you were asking something.
Hello.
Yeah, Shashidharan.
Yeah. Actually, sir, I have attended the EDGE program from the Deshpande Startups in Hubli. So whether is this similar to the EDGE program where they are also offered based on the customer discovery part? So whether it is okay.
Different. The framework is the same, right?
Okay.
But they also combine it with little bit of design thinking, and and the program format itself is different.
Yeah, it was too much generic, so it was not. It was helpful, but not to the core. As we are deep tech startups and B2B, so that was a problem.
And that is not just for STEM startups; it is for any startup.
Any startups, yeah.
It's more like an academic program. This one is not.
Okay, yeah, that's what I want to clarify. Yeah, thank you so much.
Mr. Muthu, you had a question. Oh, he seems to have dropped off.
Yeah, it's dropped off.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes, Nikhilesh.
Yeah. Professor, this is Nikhilesh from IITM. I'm a PhD student here. So we had a question more towards the timeline of things. So we were planning to start our discovery phase as early as possible. So is there some arrangement, or can we start it somewhere in the first week of June, because we have the team ready? if we can join the ongoing cohort, or is there something that we can do on our own prior to the cohort starting?
Professor Nikhilesh,
I'm just a PhD student. So
okay, okay. I thought you said you are a
is...
professor. Yeah, okay. So you're on the way to becoming a professor. That's fine.
Hopefully.
Okay. So Nikhilesh, see, there is a reason why the program is offered as a cohort. Because what happens is that you learn a lot in the journey with other startups. You cannot make all the mistakes yourself and hope to learn. So you also learn from the mistakes which the other teams are making along the journey, or the aha moments and the learnings that they are having, and you contextualize it to yourself. So the program is offered only as a cohort based program, but a lot of material is available online about lean startup and all, which you may want to read and familiarize yourself. But as far as GDC is concerned, we offer the program only as a cohort. And I think, given the timelines, I don't think that, or I'm not sure how you feel that a month will make a difference, because this cohort begins in July and you're saying that you want to start somewhere in June. So
it begins on June 23rd. So it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
We
so
actually,
What are you trying to say with 3 weeks?
No. So we have some interns who might not be available after that.
Do this with
So that's the concern.
Don't waste your time doing this program with interns. Not worth
Okay.
it.
So that's how we'll go for full time. So we have to work that out.
Don't bring interns here. We won't take. Not acceptable.
So Nikhilesh, this program, the whole approach of customer discovery is that it must be done by the founders, the entrepreneurs. It's not like a market survey which you can have someone else do it for you. Certainly not someone who's an intern and who's going to not be available after a few weeks. Because there is a lot of personal learning and personal growth which happens as part of the customer discovery journey. And it's your journey to becoming an entrepreneur from a researcher. So it's really important that the entrepreneurs, the founders, do the program themselves rather than banking upon or relying on interns or external staff.
No. So of course we'll all be there. So we have 3 founders and other people in the team. So that's how the composition of the team is.
Mm-hmm. You said you are from which IIT, Nikhilesh?
Madras.
Okay.
Mr. Muthu's back to the call. So Muthu, you had a question?
Ganesh, yes, please.
Okay.
Hello. He hasn't. He's looking for 5 marks without asking the question.
Ganesh, you want to tell us a little bit about what your startup idea is?
Sure. So we started in 2018. We work on Indian language technologies in general. Specifically, we are working on automated speech recognition and text-to-speech conversion technologies for Tamil, Kannada, Telugu, Malayalam, Hindi, and English, basically Indian English. So, and also multilingual support for these languages, mix of these languages. And so we have few products ready to go, but and we have integrated these technologies together, but we are still looking for or exploring, as you said, the clients for these products, the right clients with clients who need these services, and looking for the What we need is basically the Indian market. We need to capture the tier 2, tier 3 city market, or businesses which want to reach these markets.
Oh,
On NLP, is it?
Not really NLP. NLP is a part of this, but it's mostly speech processing. Yeah. So NLP comes after we do the speech processing. In the end-to-end product, we will have a part of NLP, but it's most of the work is of speech processing, or maybe our expertise is of speech processing.
Excellent. These are the kind of things that are exciting. People are working in labs, figure out how they can create impact. This program is hugely transformational.
This will be quite an exciting area in terms of voice to text, text to voice.
Yes.
Multi-language conversion.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, we're looking at that with Indian languages comes with different challenges. There are each language is different. Some languages are gender based. Some languages have a very vast, very extensive vocabulary, or language rules are complex, and so on. So what works for English need not work for Indian languages or any other language, for instance. We need to develop these technologies which work best for a given language. We need to incorporate language rules and some language specific we need to build language specific technology. So we are working on these areas since now 4 years, 3.5 years, and so we need to, we're looking for markets which need these products.
So you work in computer science department of IIT Hyderabad.
AI, artificial intelligence department. Yeah, which is offshoot.
How do you come to know about GDC's open house?
So actually one of my co-founders, Sashidharan, who just asked question, he found that out and he said that maybe you can join, and then I joined this meeting. And Shashi, we were part of Deshpande Startups Edge program before. 6 months before, I think.
Right.
Thank you, Ganesh.
Thanks.
Anyone else? Any questions?
Ganesh, did you apply from IISc earlier?
From IISc, is it?
Yeah, Professor.
Professor Ramakrishnan?
Yeah, so we are from Professor Ramakrishnan. So I'm not Professor Ramakrishnan student, but my co-founder is his student. His name is Madhav Raj.
We had a question with Professor Ramakrishna.
Yes, so so we are basically from his lab.
Okay.
Yes.
All world.
Yes.
Hyderabad is not very far away from Chennai and Bangalore. Good. So is Professor Ramakrishnan still involved, or is he with your project?
Not now. He was involved in the earlier phases when we were just starting out, but after that we got this Startup India fellowship, and we are incubated in IISc. SID handles
You got some state something, right? Some state recognition or something like that. Some state incubation. Karnataka state.
No, it's for the central scheme, Startup India Seed Fund Scheme grant.
Startup India Seed Fund.
All right.
At that time, I think Professor Ramakrishnan had won the Elevate award.
Yeah. They got it 1 or 2 years back. They got it.
Yeah. He has his own startup, Professor Ramakrishnan.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Very good. Good to know.
So Shashidhar, you want to say something?
No, sir. I'm good.
Any other questions, anyone?
Rajiv, will it be good to give a quick recap of the next steps?
What is the last date for applying? June 1st, is it?
1st June. 1st June is the last date.
Send our applications in because last minute we will after the date we may not accept. So please send it in before that.
So Surya, the program manager, will be sharing the link for the application once the session ends, and based on that you can apply for the cohort. We will have a process to review the applications after they are submitted, and so that's the process. Surya, you want to paste the link for the application in the chat here?
Yes, sir. I'll do it. The link is there in the chat box.
You can also apply through the website, GDC's website.
Yeah.
In case any of you want to alert any of your colleagues or friends about this program who have not attended today, our website will carry a recording of this session. Maybe I think Surya, you'll send them also, right?
Yeah, she shares the link. Yeah.
You share the link.
Yeah.
So you can feel free to forward. We want as many people to benefit from this. Yes, I think.
Okay. I think if there are no further questions, we will call this session to an